Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Welcome. On today's episode of UFO in the Know, we'll be discussing the now infamous egg UFO video.
Newsnation has independently obtained previously unseen video obtained from a secret UAP craft retrieval program. This extraordinary footage clearly shows an egg-shaped object dangling in a sling below the belly of a helicopter.
Now this has been the first official, I want to say official, but we don't, it's about as confirmed true as we can get right now, of a real alien spacecraft. Now, I want to say, people have been mocking the egg, infamous egg, joking about it. Even Ross Coulthard said, "This is a serious matter. We should not be joking about this, guys." Well, when I first saw the egg, I honestly shared some silly content about eggs. Why? Because I was teased for an entire week a real live video of a UFO, which I was beyond ecstatic about. I could not wait, and I finally tuned in, and what do I see? A blurry night vision video of a giant egg being hung from a helicopter. I think I just broke the egg. Anyway, the egg was being hung from a helicopter. Witness Jake Barber. Jake Barber is his name, and he is a former Air Force. I don't even think he's an officer. I think he's enlisted. But anyway, I won't go into the details about his rank and such. That what I really wanted to discuss is his testimony. So Jake Barber, he says that his job was to retrieve things for the Air Force. We'll just say things. His job was to pilot a helicopter that was retrieving sensitive items for the Air Force. Now, some of these sensitive items ended up being alien spacecraft, for all we know. Now, that being said, we have the video. We have no idea where it came from. Ross Coulthard would not reveal his sources, which is understandable. If this is a very sensitive item and it was leaked illegally, he may not want to share that. But just for our sake, I would like to hear some sort of confirmation that's true. But for all intents and purposes right now, I believe it to be true for somewhat good confidence. Now, I want to say, in Jake Barber's testimony, he said over a span of several years, he picked up several of these, I'm just going to call them UFOs. I know that's not the vernacular right now. It's UAPs, but I like to say UFOs because it's the very same thing that my grandpa would have saw in World War II. My dad would have saw if he's growing up. I don't think he actually saw one, but it's the same thing that we've been seeing for 70 years. It's a UFO. Everybody knows what a UFO is. Anyway, I went off on a tangent. If Jake Barber is picking up UFOs on a regular basis, that must mean somewhere there's a lot of UFOs being hidden somewhere. They must just have a storeroom of just alien tech. Let's just throw it in there. Another one on the pile, guys. Where's it at? What's been done with it? Interesting and a little telling, I think. That's what he reveals from that, I feel like. Now, there is a precedent for an egg-shaped UFO appearing, and we do have some notable witnesses that have seen these things over time. One of those is New Mexico police officer Lonnie Zamora, who claimed to, I'm going to recount his story the best I can. He heard a loud noise, responded to it, and he heard it outside like an explosion, drove up to it. He finds an egg-shaped craft sitting there with little legs supporting it, right? And outside that craft are two little men just scurrying about, maybe about 3 feet tall little men, almost look like children. So he sees them, and they see Lonnie, and they startle off, spooked, get in their get in their egg, should I say, it's an egg, get in their egg spaceship. The egg spaceship launches rockets out of the side of it and blasts off into space with a loud boom, hovers there for a second, and then it's gone, out of Lonnie's sight. Now, some interesting things about this case. There were scorch marks on the ground, which were studied by the Air Force in Project Blue Book and also studied by MUFON. I've seen the pictures. It just looks like scorch marks in the ground, like 3 scorch marks. Anyway, so now that we have at least one other, I know of 2 other witnesses I've seen online, but the egg-shaped UFO is not new. Another thing about the egg-shaped UFO, we have, so a lot of whistleblowers claim that I'll just call it the shadow government, has reverse engineered UFOs, but those ones tend to look more like man-made technology, right? They have wires, they have, things protruding off of it, bolts, things that you can tell it was made by human hands. The egg is it looks just like the egg I'm showing you right now. Perfectly smooth, perfectly round, perfectly molded. And I think that says, and telling by Lonnie Zamora's case, that likely is an alien craft. The no indication, the smoothness, the perfectness, seemingly like it was molded all in one piece. That's a description of alien craft from what I've heard. Now, there's another element to this story, which I haven't talked about yet, but that is the psionic component. Now, what are psionics? Now, we knew from previous cases I've studied, like the Kona Blue documents were released by AARO, the All-Domain Anomalous Resolution Office, which was a proposed project for a craft retrieval, which stated that remote viewers were necessary for that mission. If you are putting together a mission to retrieve downed UFOs, you need a psionic asset. Anyway, you need a psionic asset to come and facilitate that recovery. Now, from reading the Kona Blue documents, it made it sound like the remote viewers were only reaching out to maybe determine the intention of the crafts which are present around them. This is a whole new element that Jake Barber has added. He's now claiming that the Air Force has psionic assets that can literally pilot an alien spacecraft with their mind. Now, this is big. This is big, people. Nobody, as far as I know, I've never heard of anything like this in any of the cases I've studied, any of the books I've read. But according to Jake Barber, this is possible. So that begs a lot of questions, like, how does that even happen? I feel like with all of ufology study, when you learn everything you learn, just opens more questions. So onto that, Jake Barber has started his own sort of ufology research group, and he claims that he has one of these psionic assets, which I'll share. I have a photo of him and his name. I'll share with you in the video. Anyway, Jake Barber has one of these psionic assets on his team. They go out to sort of just study the UFOs. But the psionic asset, he dons his covers so he can't see anything, right? And he sits there and he just meditates. And then he reaches out to the craft, right? And then he starts to pilot it in towards them. This is Jake Barber's testimony. This is what he said. So his psionic asset is piloting the craft. That's a different craft. This is not the egg craft. Piloting a craft towards their destination. And what happens? Another UFO shows up and starts to do battle with the craft that Jake Barber's group is reaching out to. It starts to fire lasers or some kind of weapon at the other craft. And when this happens, Jake Barber's psionic asset loses control. And then what happens after that? The craft starts to fall out of the air. What happened to the craft? He didn't really say. I would like to know. Again, that begs more questions. And it makes me feel like, too, that so during my study of the lore, I've begun to uncover people claiming that there are bad aliens that are embedded in our society, they're controlling us, or whatever they're doing. Who knows what they're doing? We don't understand what they're doing. We just know they're bad, right? And there's also reports of good aliens. And the good aliens, essentially, as far as I best understand it, work for God. Okay? So the good aliens, they work for God. They, through their technology, have learned that the entire universe is one giant organism. Think about if you ever see pictures of the structure of the universe, it looks like the inside of a brain very much. So these good aliens, who are called the Galactic Federation, are sort of not looking out for us, but also they do not want to violate our free will. And also they are a more higher evolved, higher dimensional intelligence than us. We are sort of like primitive animals to them, and they are waiting for us to evolve our intelligence and our being so that we can come and join the Galactic Federation. And wouldn't that be wonderful? We would travel the stars and it'd be just like Star Trek, right? Okay, so the way to raise your vibration, right? So they work for God. So what does God, or I guess Jesus, tell us to do? To be nice. Be nice to everybody, guys. Be nice, okay? You got to treat every person, every living being, like you would want to be treated, because all living beings are at a higher level, all sort of connected. So this is why you would not want to be a bad person, if you need a reason not to be a bad person. Anyway, the Galactic Federation, right? So we have the stories of the Galactic Federation, the stories of the bad aliens, who a lot of times are the reptilians. I've been told, too, that not all reptilians are bad. Some of them are good. But anyways, this battle that Jake Barber witnessed in the skies over him sort of maybe sounds like it could have been these good or bad aliens doing battle. Who knows? Another thing I want to talk about, too, is I haven't mentioned that Jake Barber mentioned on one of his missions to recover the UFOs, he says that he felt an overwhelming feeling of love like a psychic connection with the beings in the craft, were psychically connecting to him and making him feel very emotional and a very loving feeling. He even mentioned that it felt like he was connected to God, which again lends credence, I think, to this idea of these godly aliens who are sort of custodians of the universe. I don't want to say custodians, maybe keepers of the peace or something like that, that are in this sort of galactic federation. It kind of sounds a lot like Star Trek. Lastly, closing, I want to say I've been following this topic since the 2017 New York Times article, and previously I was obsessed as a young boy with UFOs and aliens. And to me, this whole series of events since 2017 feels to me like a slow drip controlled disclosure. This feels like it's being done on purpose to lay out little breadcrumbs, more and more revealing things slowly as time goes on, about the truth about the alien presence on Earth. And I'm predict that we'll hopefully see more and better things as time goes on. Hopefully we'll see a picture of an alien, a real alien, and one day they'll maybe just open up the bunker and say, here's Alien Bob. He works with us. He wears a collared shirt. He works with the engineers and helps them build alien spaceships and space lasers and whatnot. Maybe that one day that will happen. Maybe it never will. Who knows? But I'm hopeful that we'll see more. I feel like this topic will not die down once you've opened this can of worms. Once you let the cat out of the bag, there's no going back. People want to know more, and there's so many questions to be answered. All right, well, that's all I have for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to share my thoughts and perspective on the now infamous egg UFO video and Jake Barber's testimony. I hope to hear from you soon. I hope to see you soon. And if I don't, then so long and have a good night. Thanks for tuning in to UFO in the Know.